First of all, I'm so overwhelmed at this crowd. In my wildest dreams, I can't believe. I mean, if I were looking around and I would try to guess your jobs, I would say Koilel, Rosh Hashivas, Heilige mention every one of you. It's an unbelievable crowd to be part of. But I want to share with you a story, two stories, to answer this question that you just asked. And that is as follows. In Brisk, there was a very, very wealthy fellow. And he gave a tremendous amount of tzedakah, Purim, everybody was by him. And then one year he lost. How could the Eibishter make that he should lose all his money? So they went to Rabbi Chaim Soloveitchik. Rabbi Chaim Soloveitchik in Brisk, and they said, this person who gave so much, how could Hashem do this to him? What's the pshat? Now, the teretz that he said is so incredible that I just want to tell you that it's in the Sefer L'Shichnei Siddur. I had to read it 3 times. I couldn't believe Rabbi Chaim gave such a teretz. And this is the teretz that he said. He said, imagine if somebody sends their son to college. Like, how could you believe Rabbi Chaim's talking about college? But he said this one. He said, if a father sends his child to college, and he goes through a difficult course, a very difficult course, and he gets an A, the next semester he's got to go through another course. It has nothing to do with the first course. The fact that he got an A is not going to help him at all in the next course. He's got to take that course. It doesn't mean that the college is angry at him because they're making him start all over. It just means that's the course of life. And he said life is like a college semester, or like a college degree. A person goes through different nisyonos. He said this person went through the nisayon of Ashirus, and he passed it with flying colors. And now Hashem said, great, you got an A, but now you got another test. And now this semester, you're taking a different test, the test of Anius. It doesn't mean that Hashem is angry at him. This is how a person goes through life. And I think that every single person, every one of us here, that goes through something like this, it's not that Hashem is angry at you. Hashem wants to see how do you relate to Him in this difficult time. Now I want to tell you a story about a very choshev Rav who will remain unnamed, and maybe you'll figure it out. This Rav, who we all know, brought a girl who could not stop crying. Now the Rav usually doesn't see 15 or 17-year-old girls, but the father begged him, please talk to my daughter, she can't stop crying. And the girl came in and she asked this shaila to the Heilige Rav, and she said like this: 2 years ago I had cancer, and every single day I davened to Hashem. Every single day I davened to Hashem. I felt so close to Hashem when I was sick. And now I'm in remission, and I don't feel so close to Hashem anymore. Now, I want to feel close, but I don't want to get sick again. So what is wrong? I was sick, I felt close, and now that I got better. So the Rav and I happened to be speaking at this point, and he told me about this. And I told him, which I'm sure he'd said without my telling it to him, that every situation that we go through in life, Hashem wants to see how you relate to Him in that way. It's not that Hashem is angry at you. And as Rabbi Eisenberger just mentioned, if somebody has a child at risk, or somebody has a child that's giving them tzoros, Hashem is testing us. That's what life is all about. That's what Golus is all about. We're all challenged. Every one of us. There's not one person in this room that's not challenged. And there's not one person in your shul that's not challenged. If you think that person has everything, that's only because you don't know what's going on in his life. So it's not that Hashem is angry at you. Hashem wants to see how you're going to act in this. You got an A last year in the semester by the good child, by the easy child. Let's see what you're going to do now. And that's what it is. A person should never give up. If a person gives up, that's the end. But if a person tries as much as they can, and it is in a sayin, and we have to do everything within the power and what the Hatarim of the Torah allow us to do for the child, that's the test. We're being tested, how we relate. It's not that Hashem is angry at us. We've got to go through life and pass different tests. And Mitzvah Hashem, when this test is over, then there'll be another test. And that's how I think, that's how you have to look at it. And if you haven't figured out who the rabbi is, his name begins with an E. You asked what Klal Yisrael should be the reaction. My answer to this is like this. Every single morning, and if you haven't davened Ma'ariv tonight, the place to daven is by Atachaynin Liyodam Das. Every one of us has to be blessed with the wisdom to say the right thing. And when you, and the whole Shemoneh Esrei is Lashon Rabim. V'choneinu me'yitcha. It's not only about you. It's not only about me. It's every one of us. We have to daven for each other, that we should have the das to say the right thing to the children. And when you want to know what the reaction to Klal Yisrael is, tell people, daven for us. Daven for the children. V'choneinu, give us the wisdom to say the right thing. Because nobody knows for sure when it could turn around, when a child feels that you love him and that you care for him, and what thing you're going to say that's going to make a difference. But we need people to daven for us. That's what you should tell people. Daven for us and daven for yourselves. By Ata Choynin Liyodam Das, that you should be zoicha to have the right words to say to the kids. And if you daven for others, I'm telling you, everybody knows, you daven for others, with Hashem, you'll be answered first. And what I think is, find a child in another family the same age as yours, and daven for that child. Daven for that parent who's going through the same Gehenna that you are going through. And you'll see you'll be answered first. It works. It works because Chazal say it works, not because I say it works. He needs that thing. Don't daven for kids in general. Daven for a 17-year-old that you know, and that parent is going through, daven for them, and you'll see, with Hashem, and that's chus, that you'll be answered. But it has to do with tefillah. Ata choynin liyodam das, and tell everyone that they should daven for the kids.
And you also have to daven that the people they're coming in contact to say the right thing.
That's right. Positively. While the Rav is looking through the tefillah, I just want to tell you that I once saw such a fabulous expression. And I think if we could live by this in everything in life, that we could become changed people. Any fool can count the seeds in one apple. You go home tonight, you open up an apple, count the seeds. You don't have to be a chacham. But only Hashem, the highest power, can count the apples in one seed. Think about that. That's brilliant. Any fool can count the seeds in one apple. But only Hashem, the highest power, can count the apples in one seed. And when you plant a seed of love, and a seed of caring, and a seed of time with a child, you never know how many apples can grow from that. I remember I once asked Rav Volva, I told him I have the opportunity to speak to parents. What should I tell the parents that they should give their children? And he said, time and love. And my son was in the kollel at that time, and I guess he was afraid he was going to have to give a lot of time to his kids. So he asked Rav Volva, how much time do I have to give my kids? And you know what he said? As much as they need. And that's what it is. We are here to try to bring the next generation to the level that we would want. And it takes time, and it takes love, and it takes seeds. And with seeds of love and time, with Hashem will grow apples and blossom. And a person should just never give up and never stop davening. Kabe al Hashem chazak v'yamis, the Gemara says, what happens if you daven and it didn't happen? Daven again. That tefillah is the greatest thing that we can do. Never give up, and just plant seeds of love and time.